Hey, Stacey David here with the Tales of a Gearhead podcast. Now, what is this? Well, it's a podcast that covers everything automotive, everything mechanical, everything that's just cool about the automotive lifestyle. And since that's just about everything, you're going to love it. Let's get rolling. You know, one of the cool things about being part of this industry is you make the best friends. Over the years, I have had the opportunity to meet some really cool people and have some really cool friends in this industry. And I've got one here with me today. His name is Jeremy Stoermer, and he works at Holley. But even before he worked at Holley, he was a heck of a car builder and just a tech and just really knows his stuff. So we've been friends for a long time. Jeremy, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you for having me, Stacey.
All right, let's talk about your background, man. Now, you were kind of a Mopar guy, weren't you?
Not always, but yes, I am now.
We brought you over to the dark side.
I can attest that to a buddy of mine, Justin. He's the one that turned me over to Mopar. So.
But what did you grow up with? Chevrolet?
Well, my first car was a Chevrolet. It was a Monte Carlo.
What year?
It was a 1984.
84. Oh, that's a big one, yeah. I've always loved that 70, 71, 72 Monte Carlo, man.
My cousins had a 74, and I remember it like it was yesterday, but that was a little too big. I had to go for the scaled-down version.
Tell us kind of what's going on at Holley. And for those of you that don't know who Jeremy is, if you go on Holley's website and watch any of the product videos, you'll probably see Jeremy. You're one of the main guys. There's several guys that do those now.
Ray and myself, yes.
Yeah. But you were the first one that started doing it, and you do a great job with it, man.
Appreciate that coming from you. That's a heck of a compliment.
You do a good job. I tell you what, how do you guys keep up with products and stuff like that? How do you choose which one you put out? That kind of deal.
It's not easy having 70 companies, that's for sure.
No.
But you have to prioritize it, and my boss actually helps us do a prioritization on products. It depends on, obviously the EFI stuff is huge right now, a lot of exhaust kits and stuff. Tuners are big right now, but it goes through a process and where they figure out, how many people it's going to involve and what kind of product and profitability they're going to get out of it. So if it's a good reward, we're going to do a video on it. And even if it isn't, we'll still do a small 30 to 90 second video just to give the public an idea of what we have, let them know it's out there.
Yeah, it really comes in handy. Now, here's the thing, because fuel injection changes all the time. What happens when you have a product that becomes obsolete?
I have a good example, actually. Sniper 2, we just released not too long ago. There's millions of Sniper 1 units out there yet, and there's still guys that swear by them. They love them. They're still watching our videos because I can watch it every day. I can see the analytics on it. They'll rewatch the video multiple times on an install or maybe just something that they were looking like they have an issue with an O2 sensor or the way the IAC is reacting. They'll go back and watch the video again to see if, maybe I did something, maybe I need to adjust this, or what can I do to change this? So we leave them up for the most part unless it's totally obsoleted, and no longer available.
So what's the idea behind the Sniper 2? Why is it better? So just so people know, the Sniper, if you're not familiar with it, is a throttle body injection that bolts on pretty much in place of a carburetor. It's not a multi-port. So is the Sniper 2 the same idea, just better? Or
same concept, just refined. Things like the TPS sensor being non-contact, so there's no movable wearing parts in it. That's, it's a great thing to have. We learned with the first Sniper that obviously RFI, radio frequency interference is a big deal, especially in an older vehicle because that didn't exist or that, the electronics weren't there at that time, and anything that was electric wasn't interfering.
Yeah.
So now we have to go back and understand that all those little things that weren't shielded and correctly shielded are now going to affect the newer electronics. So that was a big thing, was to upgrade the RFI and it more resistant. Not going to say we had issues, but things developed and we found places that we could actually improve upon.
Now, is the price point pretty much the same for the Sniper 2?
Pretty much the same. It's a bit higher. We still have a lot of Sniper 1s that we're selling, and the Sniper 2 is a great option, though, and it's a great price point, too.
So the Sniper 1 will stay on the market?
As of now, yes.
Okay, well, that's nice. Now, what was the one that actually looked like a carburetor?
That was the Stealth.
The Stealth. Now, you still doing that one?
The Stealth is still available, as well as the 1-barrel and the 2-barrel versions.
Oh, listen, the 1-barrel thing is great for a lot of these like straight sixes and stuff.
Oh yeah, the older antique cars, even tractors.
Yes, I've got one on the Snowcat. I've got one on. I'll probably put one on this other Snowcat from those little 4-cylinders. They're really nice universal kits.
Easy to put on too.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is probably the biggest mistake that people make when they're converting to fuel injection?
Not reading the directions. 100%.
Car guys, they don't think they need to read the directions. They don't need no stinking directions.
To be honest, if they didn't read the directions, that's good for me because then that means they watch the videos. And if not, I wouldn't have a job. So stop reading directions, guys.
Yeah. Well, once they put one on, they don't really need to anymore. They understand how it works. I think probably the biggest question that I get is in the fuel tank. Putting the unit on the motor is fairly simple. And then all of a sudden, most people realize, whoa, I got to do something with my fuel tank? Whether it's, put the pump in it or, put it in line, whichever way you're going. What is your suggestions for people on that?
Well, we have a lot of options, actually. But yeah, like you said, the biggest thing is they don't understand that, it doesn't take, 5 to 7 PSI of fuel pressure. It takes 40 to 60 PSI of fuel pressure now. It all depends on, A, your budget, and B, your knowledgeability, and see what you want long term.
Yeah.
The easiest and cheapest, simple way to do it would be to do the external pump that we provide a master kit for the Sniper EFI system. And it goes outside of the tank. You just need to get it as closest to the tank as possible and as low as you can in relation to the fuel level in the tank. They work great. They do have some drawbacks, as in they're a little noisier, especially depending on how you mount them. Mm-hmm. But they are easy to access, and they're easy on the wallet too. So now if there's other options though, if say you have 1984 Chevrolet Monte Carlo, originally carbureted, fuel tank is perfectly good in it, but you want to convert to EFI, we have EFI drop-in modules. Now that literally takes the place of the stock drop-in module that has your fuel pickup tube and the fuel level sending unit in it, replaces it with the fuel pump in tank and a new fuel level sending unit.
Those are great units.
There's no cutting, drilling. You simply just drop your tank, put the new unit in there, wire it up, plumb it, and you're ready to go.
Yeah, so you started with the popular vehicles and going more toward the AMCs and things like that as you go. Yeah.
Exactly. And there's other options too. There's options where you have to cut the tank.
I've seen those. Now, those will go in anything, and that's a great unit.
Yeah, retrofit module. You can put them in a steel tank. You can put them in a plastic tank, aluminum tank you take out of a boat. Whatever you have, you can pretty much make it work in there.
Now, I've seen a lot of people, and I've been getting a lot of questions lately about guys interested in carburetors again. Have you seen that?
We still build almost 200 carburetors a day.
Wow.
We're used to it. We get questions all the time. In fact, I'll be working on some of the updating of the videos. If you go back and if you look in the Holley YouTube channel, there's some videos that are probably close to 15 years old now, slightly animated, definitely outdated. I'm going to redo those and bring them up to date and give you some new tips and tricks too that we've learned along the way.
There's one thing I was talking to guys the other day. I was actually doing a seminar about this, and guys they're talking about the problem that a lot of enthusiasts have with a car they don't drive a lot is letting it sit. And that's not good for fuel injection. A carburetor does better on that because an injection that is self-tuning.
True.
So these guys get out there and they'll drive them after a year, and they're wondering why the car stumbles around until they get the thing to run some. And, whereas a carburetor might be leaking a little bit, it runs great.
Yeah. Unfortunately, today's fuels, the modern fuels have really messed with that a lot too, though.
Yeah.
You've got to worry about stuff pretty much growing in your carburetor with all the oxygenated fuels and the ethanol and everything else. You got corn in there, you got corn mash going in there sometimes. Fuel injection, you can't beat it hardly. I mean, it's scary at first when people open that manual and see all the wiring and, open the box and see the wiring and everything. But once you get down to it, it's a carburetor, but it uses sensors and other things to determine the fuel.
Talking about iconic brands, obviously Holley is one of the most iconic brands, but now you guys own Hilborn.
Correct.
You have Hallebrand.
Correct.
You still have the YN brand.
The YN brand is still there.
And they still do manifolds and some...
Manifolds, yep.
Okay. But not superchargers.
I know one of the drawbacks with that was we were having a hard time sourcing parts, the rotors and stuff like that.
So those ones I have squired away in the back room, I need to hold on to.
Better hang on to them or up the price tag on them a little.
Well, you can't get rid of them, then you can't find them. There's nothing like an old 671 blower, man.
The whine of the blower and the lope.
Okay, so what kind of cars did you grow up with? We know what you had. You had a Monte Carlo. So what was your favorite car that you had?
I drove the Monte all the way through high school until I think I was on my second engine, and I believe it was the third transmission. I finally gave up the Ghost. So converted over to, I actually had a Toyota pickup.
Okay,
pretty much like the one Michael J. Fox had in Back to the Future.
Oh my gosh, have you seen the value of those things lately?
Yes, I know, they skyrocketed.
Oh.
That lasted until I was actually working at a marina, and one of the gentlemen that was moving boats, he put a boat on one of the trailers, one of our work boats, and it had some frost on it, and he was coming down the hill, and the boat slid off and literally smashed into the side of my Toyota.
Oh my gosh.
So one of the ones I'd really like to have back was a 66 Ford Fairlane 500 XL convertible that I had.
Wow.
It was a daily driver, nothing, nothing superb, probably a 9 out of 10 on the paint.
Yeah.
But my family and we had a lot of fun in it when the kids were little and stuff.
Oh, convertible too. You don't see a lot of those.
No, it was the really light blue with a white top and white interior. And
yeah. What engine was in it?
351 Cleveland somebody had put in it.
Okay.
2-barrel though. We put a lot of miles on that, cruising around the lakes back home in Iowa, and there's a lot of memories to it. It was not a super special car by any means or anything.
Yeah, but to you it was.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're into cars and trucks much, you know that one area that's always overlooked, or at least has been in the past, have been the straight six engines, like the straight six Fords and Chevys, and that, because a lot of people still like to run those engines in their pickups. They make a great hot rod engine, and they're just a great engine. They'll run forever. But one of the big things that the aftermarket has not had for those engines has been fuel injection. So you were stuck with a carburetor. One of the surprising products that has come out recently is the Sniper fuel injection for these little 1-barrel and 2-barrel carburetors. This means that you can now swap to a Sniper fuel injection on a straight six or an AMC engine or something that's got a 2-barrel carburetor or something that's got that little single-barrel Autolite. Holley now has a Sniper system for that. Not just the fuel injection, but they also have MSD distributors, and they carry the complete fuel system. So now it's never been easier to put fuel injection on an odd engine. Matter of fact, a lot of tractors and a lot of off-road vehicles are perfect to put these things on, and of course that is one of the main places you would want fuel injection, is an off-road vehicle. So if you're working on this kind of project and you've always wanted fuel injection, check out Holley.
If you like cars, if you like coffee, you're gonna love Gears Coffee Cars. Because in each pack, you'll find a special blend of rich, robust coffee to get your blood pumping, as well as a collectible cartoon sticker and matching photo card of some of the wildest vehicles Stacey has built or featured over the years. Collect the whole series and be sure to keep an eye out for the ultra-rare Strange Brew card that are added to random packages to keep things interesting. It's Gears Coffee Cars, the best bean on the car scene.
Okay, so if you could have any car, any muscle car, because you're a car guy, there's a lot of answers to that. So any muscle car, but you can only have one. And it doesn't matter if it's reliable or whatever. What would it be? The one that you would want to get in and just take down the road.
De Tomaso Pantera.
Wow. I am so impressed. I love those cars.
When I was I think I was actually still in 8th grade, I worked for a local body guy at a body shop doing all the piddly stuff,
Yeah.
But we had a Pantera come in there, and the owner of that took me for a ride in it after we were finished with it, and I just fell in love. I mean, you got the European look, but you got the American muscle underneath of it. And I 20 years ago, I should have bought one though, because now I can't afford one. So
they're still fairly cheap compared to a semi-exotic. Yeah. They're not considered a true exotic for some reason. I have several neighbors that have them, and I'm just waiting for them to come down on the price. No, I'm the same way. I actually saw my first Pantera. This would have been probably in the mid-'70s. I was on the school bus, and I look out there, and I'm like, what is that? It was sitting at a motorcycle shop. And it was just, I saw that from the tail end and the pipe sticking up. I was like, what is that? And, of course, I was always into, sports cars and, GT40s and all that stuff anyway. And, that's back when people drove them around on the road.
Oh, yeah. Daily drivers.
You didn't think much about them. It's a great choice. It's really cool.
It's, it's not a Mopar. I apologize, guys. But, from a real young age, I wasn't a Corvette guy. I wasn't a Camaro guy. I've owned a couple of them, but the Pantera just caught me and kept me, I guess.
Okay, so how about a truck or an off-road vehicle or truck, Jeep, things like that? If you had one of those to pick, what would it be?
Oh, Lord. That's a tough question there.
And it doesn't even have to be a four-wheel drive, just a truck. Some people like the 67 through 72 C10s. Some people like the 50s Fords. Some people like the Jeeps, the Scramblers, whatever.
Dodge Ram diesel, 6-speed.
What body style, though?
If I could have it, I'd have to build it, but like a D300, you know, the older style.
Yeah, the square body style?
Well, it's not really square, but it's the first generation, essentially, the D100s, you know, the 70s. But put a nice lift kit on it.
Those are cool.
Put a 5.912 valve in it, you know, with a 6-speed behind it, and lift it up and run some 35s or 40s or something.
Those are cool. It's hard to find those trucks now. There's not much aftermarket for them. How about Jeeps and Scramblers and, you know, International Scouts? Toyota Land Cruisers, anything like that?
Yeah, I love all the above. A buddy of mine when I was growing up, Justin, he was big into the Scouts, and he had, I don't even know, 4 or 5 of them sitting out on the farm. I always loved them, but where I'm from in Northwest Iowa, they're always rust buckets.
Yeah, they don't last long.
No, same with the Wranglers. That was kind of the issue, but I love the Wranglers. I've had everything, you know, the CJs. I've had CJ5, 7. I've had YJs, TJs.
Mm-hmm.
We actually just bought a new JL. My wife's daily driver is a JL, so yeah, I love those. Lots of time cruising around the lakes there, you know, with the top off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're special vehicles. Like I said, the CJs now have gotten real collectible. And, of course, the Scouts have gone up. The Broncos led the way, you know, and now all that stuff's getting hard to come by.
Yeah, then even the FJs. I love those FJs. I love the old body style, you know.
So in your opinion, since you're a car guy, I don't get to ask this question to a lot of people. If they're not car guys, they don't get it. But okay, there's been a lot of retro bodies that have come out. The FJ is one, the Mini Cooper is another, the Thunderbird, the Mustang, the Camaro, where they went back and played heavily on the older body style. In your opinion, who has done that the best?
Dodge with the Challenger.
With the Challenger. Oh my gosh. You know, that body style came out in 2008, and it hasn't changed since.
Pretty much no. Yeah, the wide body kit, but you know, obviously I'm a little partial to the Mopars, but I think they brought out a lot of the nice aspects, you know, with the hood, the whole front end, and the headlight arrangement, and the taillight assemblies, and the lines down the side, you know.
Yeah.
They did a great job, I think. But if I had to choose between the three, definitely Challenger.
Yeah.
Second place to the Ford.
So if you could have any Mopar, what would it be? Oh, I got to break it down. Okay, E-body.
Oh, any E-body.
Any E-body. That's
71 Hemi Cuda convertible.
Really? Why the 71?
The gills.
The gills are cool.
I like the grill and the gills.
You know, for me, because I like the 71s too, but the quad headlights on a Cuda is my least favorite.
Is it?
To me, I like the just the single headlights for the Cuda. The quad headlights were Challenger to me.
That would be the favorite E-body.
I would probably, for me, it would have to be the 70 Challenger, just because Vanishing Point.
That was awesome.
You know, it's just a great movie. Okay, so how about B-bodies? This will be the interesting one.
Yeah, it will be interesting because I'm probably just going to have to stick with what kind of really originally got me in the Mopars, which was the Roadrunner, because my dad had a 69 Roadrunner.
69 Roadrunner.
Yep, it was a 383 car, but you know, if I could choose one, I'd do
That's
maybe
the classic
V-code,
yeah,
Hemi Roadrunner or something, you know.
Yeah, that's a classic car. That's a good one. I always liked the Superbirds, but not enough. They were far out. They were exotic.
Yeah,
I like
they're
the
exotic.
wing.
You know, now you like them because they bring so much money and stuff, you know, but and they're rare.
My favorite B-body, though, is the 70 Super B.
You like that front end?
That 70 front end, and I know that is really, that people are really separated on that. They either love it or hate it.
I used to not like it at all, but it's grown on me over the years.
It just looks so angry. The car just looks like angry. It's just ticked.
Sitting still.
Oh, yeah. It's just built right into it. That 1 year only thing. I always love that. The 70 GTXs, I think the 70 was just a great year. But it didn't have that angry front end like that B.
No.
Did you ever like any of the earlier stuff, like the 62 darts and that really odd stuff?
I didn't care for that particular year, the
car on
bounce
top
and the
of a
darts and
car
stuff.
thing?
Yeah, but if you were going to do the max wedge cars, or 64, 65-ish, I really like those. Those are, of course, they're also iconic from the drag strip. I mean, that's what put them on the map. So the early Hemi and everything else in it. Going back even farther, though, the 59 and 60 with the wings and stuff, the Pioneers and things like that. Those are getting collectible, too, especially if you can find them in a two-door edition.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, and I always like the letter cars. The ones that had the big fins, like the 60, wing cars. Oh, my gosh, with the fins, they were great.
Well, you know who Herb McCandless is, don't you? Mister Four-Speed?
Yeah.
You need to get to his museum sometime. He has... I'm going to say he probably has every 300 car, version of every 300 car built. He's in love with them.
You never see those things out anymore. You never see them at shows. Yeah, I'll have to drop by there. Where's his museum at?
North Carolina.
And is it open to the public?
Yes, it is. Yep. Herb's a great guy too. He'll give you the whole rundown.
Oh yeah, he probably knows all the history.
Oh, he's got it memorized, I'm sure. So.
We were walking through. We were doing a thing with Richard Petty a while back, and we're walking through Richard's. I wouldn't call it a museum. It's his garage, and it's got all of these iconic cars. And Richard's walking by, and the stories that are coming out of him. He's like, "Yeah, that car there." He says, "You see that little dent right there?" They said that's where I put it in the wall, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" And he goes, "We need to fire this thing up." And they put a battery on it and fire it up right there.
That's crazy.
It's like, oh my gosh, it's really cool.
It's great that they still remember those things too, and they can pass it on. And now, now people are documenting those things too, so the future can see it and hear it.
Well, man, that is great. That's all I had for you. Fantastic job.
Well, thanks for having me here.
Fantastic.
I finally got down here to see the new studio. It's been a while.
Yeah, every few years we got a building. This is going to be the last one, though. I hope, yeah.
Yeah, well, we run into each other at the events all the time, but...
the events are crazy for us, though. Out of the 3 events that you guys do, I mean, obviously LS Fest is huge. Is that still the #1 event that you do?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I don't even know, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what the numbers were this year, but it was well above 40,000, I believe.
Yeah. Mopar was down a little bit. Of course, it was raining that weekend.
Yeah, but the Friday was really good, actually, compared. Typically Friday is kind of the lull, and then Saturday everybody comes in. But on Friday, we had a good crowd. Same with Ford Fest as well. There's a good crowd on Friday.
Ford Fest is always good. I just love the way that you've kind of reimagined the way events are done. And it's kind of what people need to do now because things are happening there.
You've got everybody there. You've got drag racers, you've got car show guys, you've got spectators. You got to kind of appeal to all of them, plus keep them busy. 'Cause if they get bored, you can't go and just walk around the car show all day long. So we got the burnouts going on, or the car jump, or drag racing.
That to me was always a problem. When I would go to car shows when I was younger and this and that, I always hated what I call the lawn chair car show, where people sit around and go, "Look at my car, ain't it awesome?" It's like, fire it up, and growing up as gearheads, we would mess around, people would fire their cars up and that kind of thing. And then when it got to the big high-end shows, that got really boring to a lot of people. And I think that's why this industry really took a dump for a while for young people not wanting to get into it.
Yeah.
But see, now, if you can go out and take your car and do a burnout or run down the track or
drift
or get on the road course and not have to have a top-level car, I mean, that's great.
Yeah, be a participant, not a spectator.
Do you find at those events that's hard, though? Because you know what happens. When you get at these events, the money rolls in because they want to play too. And so the high-end cars start to roll in that are professional drag cars. Even if it doesn't try, that can kind of shove out the average guy. How do you keep that from happening?
It comes down to the classes that you present to the people, Obviously, in like the autocross, you're going to have the guys that have the normal everyday cars that are just going out there having fun can still go do that, but they're not going to win the class,
Yeah.
Obviously, you're going to have guys, coming in that have fully
with
built
a professional
chassis.
driver.
Yeah, exactly. Professional drivers. Same with drag racing, though. You're going to have the high-end 10-second, 8-second cars, but we still have the rumble class and test and tune and things like that where, you can take your stock Challenge or your stock Camaro or your 66 Mustang, as long as you pass tech, down the track, and, and show your buddies, hey, mine runs, 11.7s or something,
One of the things that I want to do with the 40, and I've talked to Bill about this. I don't know how we can make this happen, but think about this. I'd like to take that car out, and because I'm building it just for like the average hot rod person, and I'd like to get out at one of those events and block off about 60 feet and take people out of the audience and say, bring them down and say, can you drive the hot rod? It's got a stick in it, first of all, so you're going to eliminate half of them. But it's me, obviously, I would be riding with them. We'd have the camera on them, and it's like, let's get your best launch.
Right.
60 feet. They can't kill themselves in 60 feet, hopefully.
Well, hopefully not.
But, I would love to do that and open up a car like that and go, come on, it's got 3 deuces and let's rock and roll.
I think it's a great idea because a lot of people are really hesitant on using their own cars, let alone, just doing it, going to the track because they're afraid and they don't know what's going on. But I've always wanted to actually do a video, the ins and outs of drag racing, going through the water box, what the lights look like, is it a pro tree,
Absolutely. How to stage.
What's courtesy? Yeah,
Oh,
what's
yeah.
courtesy and staging? You know, what to expect, how to lift at the end of the track. You know how many people I've seen spin out at the end of the track because they didn't know how to lift?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Now, nobody talks about that.
No.
It's like, well, of course you should know it. Same thing with the road course stuff, too.
Oh, exactly.
They get in, they don't know how to drive a road course. No one's ever taught them that.
There's lots of things that we could, go through. But yeah, I think that's a great idea. I mean, and that one person that you let drive your car down the track, they may turn around and build a car because of that, or they already have
they will.
Or
I
they already
would.
have a car, but they actually come out and participate next time.
Think about it. If you're 10 years old, 15 years old, 20 years old, and you get a chance to uncork somebody's car like that, oh my gosh, you're hooked. You're a fan for life.
Exactly.
Just like you with that Pantera.
I was hooked.
Oh, yeah, same thing. Awesome, man. That's great. That's everything, man.
All right. Well, thank you,
Thank you.
Stacey.
All right, that's our show for today, which means you need to get out there and start working on something. Spend some time turning wrenches. You might be surprised how much you like it. Make sure you check out our website, staceydavid.com, because we've got all kinds of new products and some other great stuff that you're just going to love. Also, make sure to check out our social media. That's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all at Official Stacey David. Our social media is where you're going to find all of the bonus content, the giveaways, the contests, the trivia. We even have extra viewer projects that focus on what you are working on. Also, the new season of Gears will be on MAV TV, and YouTube will be the place that you can view all of your favorite Gears episodes, as well as the full project builds that follow the project from beginning to end. Make sure to check out our new Gears coffee cars. This is a unique blend of coffee and cool stickers to collect that will appeal to anyone. All right, that's all the announcements. We're all up to date. We'll see you next time.